I think that the issue of Deputy President Mashatile the writing was on the wall. Once Deputy President, the previous Deputy President, they decided to step down. Mr. Mabuza stepping down just created an opportunity for Mr. Mashatile to step into that role. So it's not a big surprise. And I think, so therefore, in the markets, it was priced in. But I did see quite a couple of things that I believe are a trend now in this government of President Ramaphosa, where he's appointing people that are highly qualified to take on roles that he wants them to do. For example, you were just talking now to the previous speaker about Tembi Smelan and Kadime, who is now leading the cooperative, who's leading Cocta, and who's deputed there by the former mayor, Pax Dow. There is no better candidate in my view, because she's astute in politics. She's got degrees from Stellenbosch and degrees from Wits, and she's recently the president of SALGA, which is a local government authority management organization, which means that she knows how municipalities works. And she's been an executive mayor of Polokwane as well. And if you partner here with Pakstow, who was a mayor of Johannesburg previously, and has got a lot of political experience, you can see that the president has definitely tried to put people in places that have got a history or a track record in the spaces that he wants them to participate in. So I do think that it's kudos to the president for this appointment, and you are seeing some young guys being appointed there as well. And I think what's important for me is the ability to continue the policy dispensations that the ANC-led government has put in place for the sake of the country. And we're trying to create continuity, I believe, by appointing these young deputy ministers. And I'm sure you've noticed that 7 out of the 11 ministers announced were women, trying to obviously address the gender question there. The markets, I think, it's not going to move the markets much. It's a good thing we now have the Minister of Electricity. We now just need to see how he's going to roll out his mandate and how that is going to affect ESCOM and the plans the president has been selling to us for ESCOM's turnaround.
Owen, you say, obviously, Paul Mashatile, that was factored into the market, says so you don't expect any major upsets there. Cyril Ramaphosa, there has been talk that he is a preferred person by President Ramaphosa for this particular role. We spoke earlier on with Chris Yelland about his qualifications, but also the role that he's played within the presidency, that of Minister in terms of infrastructure and investments. But investor sentiments towards South Africa have been poor over the past couple of months, which has been reflected in the Rand's performance. Now, I'm just wondering what will be the reaction to Cyril Ramaphosa, but also the explanation given by the president, the role that he will play, how he will fit in with the already existing structure that deals with energy.
Look, I think he's going to have a tough job on his hands, but I think he's a capable leader. He's also, again, technically experienced. He's a civil engineer. The job that is given, yes, he might not be an electrical engineer, but I think at this stage you want someone who can think strategically. You want someone who's got a background, at least in the industry, who can then put people around him that can help him drive the agenda of making sure that ESCOM, for the duration of this national disaster, at least, gets to be turned around. And I think that at least the market has got closure in terms of who the Minister of Electricity is going to be. And I think that the accolades that is previously received, from industry and from the people in business when he was driving the infrastructure projects, successful or not successful, but I think that he had good innings there. And hopefully in the Ministry of Electricity, he's going to do the same as well. So I think we couldn't care any less, Sapiso, if he stays there for 5 years or 10 years. But what we want is for him to make sure that ESCOM can be turned around urgently, and we've got a consistent supply of electricity, and it's easy for people to decide to invest in South Africa because, ESCOM's problems have been put in the past. I do wish the minister well in his new tenure there in the Department of Electricity.
I want to just latch on to what you're saying there, Owen. So the president said earlier on that I sought to balance new skills and ensuring stability in the work of government, which you reflected on. But there is no clear indication that these changes will occur in the short term. I'm just looking at not only currency movements, but South African bonds, how they'll respond to that. We don't have a shrunk size of cabinet as there were some hopes. We have an even larger size of cabinet. How are people going to see this decision making and the impact on improving governance and particularly growth?
Look, I think Veron has always been the biggest problem for many presidents in the country. They have actually, instead of shrinking the size of the cabinet, they've increased it, which is quite problematic because it increases the government wage bill, which obviously we saw in the recent budget that is now gone about 700 billion rands. But I think that the president did mention that he's looking at reducing the size of the cabinet. And I'm thinking that most probably he's looking at doing that post the elections in 2024. Should he be elected back as president? I believe that he's going to use that opportunity maybe to create a whole new cabinet that might have more younger people. And this is why he didn't tamper probably with the more senior members of this ministerial list, who obviously helped him, get back to the presidential seat in the ANC in the recent Nasrec conference. So I do think that, in my humble view, 2024 will probably come with a different parliament that is sized into a smaller and more effective cabinet. Failure to do that, in my view, will continue to look like the president is just playing to the ANC party, choices to make sure that old cronies are still staying in power. I do think, like I said earlier, that there's a certain measure of an intention by the president to put young deputy ministers who are going to understudy some of the senior guys, and then hopefully in 2024 they will get a chance as well to become ministers in that new cabinet.